All right, this morning inside your spotlight, we have Apostle Dr. Joseph Attzs joining us via Zoom, and he's representing the Mantle of Christ International Ministries. Good morning to you, Dr. Attzs.
Good morning. How are you?
So far, so good. How are you doing this morning?
Yeah, everything is fine. Yeah, just doing fine, man.
Lovely. All right, so let's jump into the conversation one time. First off, tell me about the work that you guys do at the Mantle of Christ International Ministries.
Well, Mantle of Christ International Ministries, we engage in securing the contributions of people wide and far, getting them in tune in the music and whatever else that you have.
All right, fantastic. So I understand that you guys have been doing a concert annually for the past few years. I mean, you didn't have one, of course, during COVID, but it would have resumed post COVID, and you've had a couple of concerts and award shows since then, yeah?
Well, actually, we had awards, the awards concert during COVID.
The virtual ones,
We
yes.
Yes, during COVID, we had two awards, and these were done to bring comfort to those who were at home and couldn't get out of the house. So we did that, and we did it virtual. So
Yeah.
everyone could have had an exposure to that kind of a feel. Um, Giving to 2023 and 2024, we brought it live, and it was held at Naparima Bowl, and it was a success. You should have been there
Hmm.
to get a taste of what it was like.
All right, tell me the impetus for doing it in the first place, because it's a very interesting name when you say sacrifice of praise.
Well, sacrifice of praise, it was the sacrifice and the burdens and the tears that these older patriarchs of the folks would have engaged in prior, and we thought that in honoring them, what best way to do it than to collaborate with a concert and to provide them with the necessary awards. We give out awards for their um, personal achievements. Some build schools, some work hard with the ministries to ensure that we had proper schools. Some work with different organizations to ensure that everything was well done as far as the faith was concerned.
Nice. Now, tell me about some of those sacrifices, because you mentioned the sacrifices that those who came before you would have had to make. Tell me about some of those sacrifices so that we understand the context that this is placed in.
Some of the sacrifices we had to think about was persons making deliberate decision to fight at the forefront for the faith. People would march and go to prison, being accosted by the police and being faced with all these brutal scenes. And this was one of the premise behind a sacrifice of praise.
Do you think that in the church today, the younger persons understand that level of sacrifice that their ancestors would have had to go through in order for the religion to be able to be as prominent as it is today?
While we may understand what may have gone through the system and gone through the ancestors, we not yet have a feel of what it is. That burden, that pain, and being beaten relentlessly, being placed in prison on afforded for, and so we really have a sense of not knowing how that really went and how it is that we can engage in this sacrifice that they shared in.
Yeah. I understand what you're saying there because it sometimes is difficult to really grasp in its entirety what it would have taken or what sort of passion and inspiration you'd have had to continue doing, even though you know the system is literally set up against you. But tell me about some of the awardees and some of the things that you all thought were, significant to be awarded or to be celebrated in these awards.
So we celebrated folks who would have fought for the rights to be heard, and like Archbishop Toby, who was the first archbishop to ordain women bishop in Trinidad, and that was a first. There was no one else who would have been doing such a thing, and so that the woman could have a place within the faith. His work was um, was awarded. The work of Archbishop Forbes, um, Queen Mother Sheila Jordan, who did excellent work in the communities, building community centers, building places that folks can come and have an enjoyable time. And so these are some of the things that we honored as we went along.
Nice. And, it's always very interesting. It's always nice to be able to celebrate those who came before who would have made these significant marks. It's very interesting that you said that the Archbishop was the first person to be able to, to ordain women and that sort of thing, because to my knowledge of the spiritual Baptists is that the women tend to be the matriarchs. It's very much led by women in my experience. You can correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, and so in that way that he created the first set of female archbishops in Trinidad and Tobago, Archbishop Randu, Archbishop Burke, Archbishop Sheila Jordan. So he went broke the ceiling, as they say, and did all these things. Well, was he um, given the green light by someone else? No, he just took the reins by and did what he had to do.
Now imagine he was given the green light by God to be able to do
Yeah,
that.
well,
Tell me about the
that's
role
where
of women in the religion today, though.
the role of woman is vastly changing. We have sisters who are head of their churches and who run their organizations in a vital way. They perform weddings. They perform different ceremonies within their church, and the church is doing well.
Nice. Love to hear that. All right, tell me about the celebrations you have planned for this weekend, because I know we have the holiday coming up on Saturday. Anything special that the ministries have in store?
Not special, but last week when we awarded the at Sacrifice of Praise, we held it at Naprima Bowl. We awarded several of the awardees, and um, Matriarch Dorothy Hercules was awarded, and Archbishop Leon John. And these are the things that we would like to push to the forefront to let people know that we have not forgotten our elders, that we believe that they are the integral part of the faith, and by that we will push it by all means to give them the recognition they deserve.
Understood. Now tell me, where can people get more information on the Mantle of Christ International Ministries, or how can they find you if they want to find out more?
They can go to Mokim at Gmail at Mokim at on Facebook, our Facebook page, and they can email to us at mokim643 at gmail.com, and they'll have all the information that they possibly can.
Nice. And that Mokim is Mocim, yes?
MOCIM.
All right, fantastic. Now, before we go, Apostle, I just want you to give the nation a greeting for Spiritual Baptist Day on Saturday.
On behalf of Mantle of Christ International Ministries, we greet each and every one with a heartfelt um, word of thanksgiving and praise. This Spiritual Baptist Liberation Day, let us come out and worship in peace, love, harmony, and unity. Let us give God the highest praise that it possibly is. It has not been because of any good thing that we have done, but because of His goodness and His love that we were able to make it thus far. So I entreat you and bless you and hope that we all can have a great time during this time.
Thank you so much, Apostle Dr. Joseph Attzs, for joining us this morning and for sharing that beautiful message with the nation. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day and all the best and happy spiritual Shout Out Baptist Liberation Day on Saturday in advance. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Joseph Attzs, Apostle at the Mantle of Christ International Ministry, is joining us there to share a little bit of information. And it's lovely that they're able to award those people or celebrate those who came before, who would have gone through that struggle, who would have made significant changes in the religion. And it's important to carry on that knowledge, that information, and that tradition of celebration as well.
It's definitely part of the fabric of Trinidad and Tobago, as we so many times have said this week, that we do recognize so many different faiths. And there's so much to learn from the faith, because as you rightfully pointed out, having females at the helm is not necessarily something that a lot of other religions have. So in itself, just for that singular point, it's a fascinating belief to me. And I'm glad that we can freely partake of it and learn more about it today.
I definitely agree with that. The freedom in particular, pun intended, but definitely the freedom in particular is something that we can all celebrate. I also agree with what you said with perhaps moving forward, seeing how other ways of life can learn from that and fully embrace the feminine, which is so important.
Most definitely. One of the things that he mentioned was, people not understanding fully the gravity of the sacrifice that was made before. And I would say that if you want to get a fairly clearer understanding of it, to read Earl Lovelace's Wine of Astonishment. When I read that book, I myself got a clearer picture as to some of the sacrifice, some of the struggle, some of the actual things that happened. Even if it may be fiction, it may be fact, you get an idea of how the society was set up at that point in time, so that you understand the struggle that what people had to fight for what they believe in. And it's important to understand that so you know how to fight for what you believe in.
And what you're standing up for.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, though, that fight is across a number of initiatives,
course.
not just religious spaces. But of course, we'll take a break, come back with more so that you could, well, join the fight. The Morning Show continues after these messages.